It is 4:30 on the Central Time Zone, which means it is 5:30 on the East Coast. It is 2:30 on the West Coast. It is the 30th of July in the year of our Lord 2023, Season 5, Episode 7. 172 times you have been welcome to the Cheap Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things professional wrestling, live via StreamYard. Shout out to Facebook Live and to YouTube and to Twitch, because that's how we roll. Welcome. My name is Rob. I am the executive producer of the Cheap Podcast, and we're still 2 weeks away from halfway being through summer. So, got that going for us, which is nice. Let's go around the dais. That way for me is my co-host. Actually, I'm right side forward this week. It's very strange. It's like sometimes I'm backwards and sometimes I'm not, but he is Alex.
Well, and it has been a long, grueling, hot summer. And I love when people try to say, like, but it's not as humid as when you were in Florida.
Not the same.
Not the same at all.
Not the same at all. I will take Florida summer over this.
100%. So please feel free to keep complaining.
At the bottom of your screen is the official fact checker of Sooner Gator Productions. And a man we need to comfort today after last night. You may know him as Igbunu, but his mama named him Don Ford. I'm going to call him Don Ford. Hey, man.
People actually complain about the rain in April.
Because and I hope people have something to complain about. What happened to all of our headlines and stuff?
What do you mean?
These
like you talk about the weather and how hot it is. Well, those people are saying complaining in April about,
No, can't move that. Okay. Alex,
but
are you okay with the logo being right there?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Everything just disappeared. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I didn't do anything on my end either, so I was trying to figure it out too.
No, Don, everybody has something to complain about. In the winter, they complain that it's too cold. In the summer, they complain. No, it's like, I like the cold. I can always put more on. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm fat and furry. Nobody wants to see me adjust to the heat.
And I got my name corrected now. Igbunu.
It's always been that, Don.
Well, it wasn't earlier.
It was there. You just had it in the wrong place.
I know, but now it fixed by
itself. This is riveting radio right now.
Nobody saw that. That was off air.
It's magic.
It is Great American Bash Day. We will not be deconstructing because we're still trying to figure out the logistics of all of that. This week, it seems like we're at least in the ballpark from a delay standpoint, but we'll figure that all out. We will have a special episode this coming Saturday from an undisclosed location for SummerSlam, so be on the lookout for that. And then whether we do a show next Sunday or not for this particular show is up for debate, and we're going to talk about that off air as well. Rumors for WrestleMania 41 now swirling in the Midwest of America, as US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis is your current front runner for WrestleMania 41. Next year, of course, it will be at the Link in Philadelphia. So, I mean, US Bank Stadium is a nice stadium.
It's a great stadium. I mean, I would say that it was the preeminent stadium right up until Mercedes-Benz got built in Atlanta.
So
what's this deal about though? Jolly old England. I thought that was supposed to be the thing.
They're still trying to figure out how they're going to pull that off. If they're going to,
that's a wait until 45,
right?
Concept.
Like they're going to have to spend a lot of time planning that because the logistics of it alone, especially being 2 days, like when it's 2 days and it's in the evening, it's not as big of a deal. But when you're overseas with that time difference, you are really asking a lot of your fan base in the biggest of ways, because you're basically telling your fan base, we know you're not there live, but we need you to commit your entire weekend to this.
And there's probably also a level of, because they try to do WrestleMania bigger than any other show, they're just waiting to be like, okay, are they going to be filming House of the Dragon at that point? Or can we get their prop department on a discount so that we don't have to ship anything overseas?
But I mean, you say about the time, I mean, everybody knows it'd be during the day here. It'd be at night there.
Right, but by the time it ends, your whole day is shot.
Yep.
It's going to start at noon Central, which
Mhm.
is 1 o'clock Eastern. By the time it's over, it's dinner time.
Actually,
Yeah.
here's the other crazy part. Because of it running so long, it'll probably start at 10 a.m. here, because otherwise it'll be ending at 2 in the morning in London.
Also fair.
Yeah.
I mean, there's logistics that have to be worked out. Now, what I do want, hear me, internet, I want Royal Rumble at the Sphere. I think
I
that
want you to
would be-
clarify what you mean. I know what you mean because I need you to clarify, Rob.
I want the Royal Rumble at the new Sphere in Vegas. I'm reading stories right now about the spatial audio that they're going to be doing in there. And apparently the monorail runs right next to it, which I've
well,
seen video of that.
it's close. I wouldn't say right next to it. It's
The
close.
video I saw was close enough for government work.
Fair enough.
And it looks amazing. I want this in the worst way. I really, really do. For those of you checking us out live here on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitch, we do have the ability to see your comments. So spark the conversation there in the comments. We can see you. We just have to remember to only respond to that channel and not all, because then people get very confused. The Iron Claw, the movie about the Von Erichs, is now set for December 22nd as a release date.
At this point,
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, but
I feel like there's a lot of discussions that's going to be happening over the next couple of hours in that scope.
that cast photo looked amazing. I am doggone well here for it.
Yeah,
So-
Harris Dickinson as David really threw me off.
I mean, even a lot of people that I know aren't as into our fair sport as we are, but live here. You can't live here and not have knowledge of the Von Erichs. It's state law. Shout out Donnie Baker, rest in peace.
So you
But-
said once it's September, you said? Or when's-
December 22nd.
Okay, so that's pure Oscar
Eve,
season.
Eve.
Yeah. And there's been some the studios are now kind of scrambling on that because of the strike, or they're
That's
pushing
for the
back.
other show, Don. That's for the
Okay,
other
I'm
show.
saying, but that's why they may have moved this one up or back due to other.
Oh, this
you know,
was the first release.
This one
date.
actually hasn't been moved at all at this point,
Yeah.
Don. We'll talk about that more on the Clubhouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the first release date we've been given, and it was this week. So there's at least a greater than zero chance that it will happen Christmas weekend. You're gonna have releases Christmas weekend.
Of course.
That is one weekend that I do not think once somebody, because the 22nd is that Friday. Christmas is on a Monday this year. So I honestly believe in my heart of hearts that one of the very few release dates that will not move is December 22nd, because of the revenue it will create for the people that are not working. That's going to be a tentpole date, I think, for a lot of the big. I could see movies like the Marvels movie, but we'll talk about that in the other show. Also found out today, Ric Flair announced that Steve Mongo McMichaels is now a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame next year. So Mongo, it's hard to believe he was on that 84 Bears team, and it's hard to believe next year is the 85. I'm sorry. That it's almost the 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And that's the Ric Flair's really been pressing for him because of his
Oh yeah, they were
situation.
they were thick as Steve's back
Yeah,
then.
with ALS, let's say he gets it this time around, there's a chance he might be able to make it, but a year from then, next year on, the chances with that horrible disease, as we know, that's why there's a push this year. And he has some of the stats where he has better stats than some people are in the Hall of Fame for what he played on the field. So
what do we know about the Hall of Fame? It's fully subjective.
yeah.
I
But
had
he
a
has
very
the
interesting
stats to
conversation with somebody
yeah.
yesterday about things of that nature. We'll talk about on the other show. But Monday Night Raw notes: Kevin Owens and Liv Morgan both injured right now. So,
Which,
Kevin maybe-
unfortunate since Owens has been the best part of that show. I don't care what anybody says elsewise.
Luckily, I mean, they can still find ways to work him in, but with the major being on Saturday, not having him available for that's a little tough. Congratulations to Gunther. He is now the third all-time longest intercontinental champion. So the Gunther meter.
No, No.
453 days for the Honky Tonky Man.
Put up the hunky meter.
It's the hunkameter, Don. You
I
have
thought
to,
it was hunky.
you have no put up the hunkameter. It's you have if you can't do it like Santino, don't even try.
I do great. I do a great Santino.
Negative Ghost Rider.
He was talking about the cheap Italian restaurant that you find near the truck stop. He wasn't referring to Mirella.
Now I want to say this as we get into Raw talk. I may be separating my shoulder with this reach,
Oh dear.
Oh,
but
no.
I found a very interesting parallel on Monday Night Raw. What kind of boots was Dom wearing that Corey Graves specifically pointed out?
Cow print boots
Mm-mm.
or cow boots.
No, that wasn't. Nope, that was not last week.
Oh, the shark skin. Yes.
And what was last week?
Shark Week.
Coincidence? I think not.
Absolutely not. That is not even that's not even a barely reach. That was 100% in response to Chompy.
Even though that's the other company.
I know it is, but what do we know?
It has that, but Universal USA. What are you gonna do? And my other I don't have a lot of show notes this week. This was
No.
not a good week for our sport. But I had a really crazy thought, and the possibility of this happening, nil. But if you really want to break the internet, have Priest cash in on Dom.
Please don't put that into the ether.
Could you imagine the IWC losing its mind? And I would sit on my couch and I would laugh until I stopped. Because, again, give me the book and the checkbook. Like, do these type of things. These are the things that get people talking. Whether it's maybe not in the best possible light, but you cannot say it would make headlines. It would make headlines.
I honestly don't believe it would. I really don't. Like, I will say your batting average in regards to give me the book of the checkbook. Absolutely. This is a veto moment. As the proverbial checkbook in this scope, I would veto this for many reasons.
I'm game for it. I like the idea. Turning on your compadre or whatever, your faction group.
Haven't we done enough to belittle the greatest cash-in ability? We've already ruined it on multiple occasions. We've ruined the Rumble before based on where the target was. Let's not ruin the briefcase. Let's not ruin the Money in the Bank contract.
Something different.
Okay, but allow me to tell you this, Scope. If he's going to cash in, why use the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and that is air quotes just slightly off camera, for a title he's already held?
I'm not saying I fully agree with my own idea. I'm not saying that. I'm just the statement was, you really want to break the internet, have Damian Priest cash in on Dominic Mysterio.
Well, it's better than what happened last year with the U.S. Championship or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've already ruined it last year. No,
they
cash in on anybody. I'm okay with it.
But let me take yours one step further. But Don, I want to let you finish first.
My thing is they already ruined it. They should have made LA Knight the winner, and he cashes in SummerSlam on Roman Reigns, or the winner of the family match, whatever you want to call it.
Tribal warfare.
Tribal match.
Are you talking about the Bloodline Civil War?
Yeah, exactly.
For the record, the family match just lost me. But no, here's how you do it. Dom loses by getting ganged up on tonight. Then Damian Priest cashes in, so the Judgment Day is like, we never lost it. That's how you'd really book that.
Speaking of NXT, No Mercy is now on the docket, set for them September 30th at the Mechanics Bank Arena in Bakersfield, California. I will be on the road that weekend. That is Giganticon. I will be down in Killeen.
50-50 chance I might actually be in Vegas.
But it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for a female to cash in on the last thing on a male. I'm still waiting for like a.
I don't know that you're going to have that anytime soon.
Any champion. She
I
cashes in
will
on-
tell you right now, there's exactly 2 ways that would ever happen, and it
She
ain't
ca-
this year.
She
Yeah.
And
cashes
that's
in
it.
on Dom.
It's Charlotte or Rhea. That's the only time that's going to happen. So you're at least a year away.
I would put a third on that list.
Hit me.
Raquel.
Nope. I see where you're talking about from a physical standpoint, but she's not as like she has gotten worse as a wrestler by working with Liv. I'm just saying that. It's
Yeah, I have no issue with that at all.
Yeah.
And remember, tonight is the Great American Bash at 8:00 Eastern on your local Peacock streaming service.
Do we have to?
aren't they all local because they're international?
I like saying local.
Yeah.
But it is at the greatness of the HEB Center in Cedar Park, Texas. And apparently Cody will be narrating the cold open. Or whatever. It's not really a cold open, but the opening will be narrated by one Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
We talked about this a few weeks ago. I have been in that. I guess you could call it an arena. It's not very big because it houses minor league hockey and G League basketball.
Mhm.
It is where the Stars minor league team and the Spurs G League team plays. Even if I don't know if they still call it that or not, but
I think they call it the Ignite League or something now.
it's a beautiful little building. And it's like right in the middle of a residential area, which is kind of strange. So the logistics may be a little bit tough for a crowd of that size. But if they've hosted games like that, they should at least have a rhythm. And it is right next to a freeway. No, you're good. It is right next to a freeway. But it's a little bit, it can be confusing on the logistics in and out if you're not paying attention. And there's a great barbecue place right up the road called Slab. Go check it out if you're in Cedar Park tonight.
And that seats 8,000. Capacity is 8,000.
It's not very big. It's not very big, but it's
Yeah.
a nice little arena. And
What about UT Arlington? That's about this.
It's a different
It's
layout.
about the same size.
It's a little bit
Okay.
different layout. That the UT Arlington arena feels a little bigger. I will say that. Because the seats there are higher tiered seats there.
Okay.
At the HEB center, it's floor and one level of seating, and then the luxury
ring.
That's it. That's the whole thing. But great building. I think NXT is going to really, really look good in that building this evening. I feel like maybe I'm the only one that noticed this, but knowing Alex is probably not possible. Did you notice Carmelo missing the cue that the camera was on before he started holding back Trick Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Oh, Carmelo, you're better than this. Sell it when you're not on camera, my friend.
Yeah.
And are we trying to turn Booker into Jerry Lawler? I mean, they're both kings. Don't get me wrong.
That
But-
is an accurate statement.
It's
I think they're just
every week.
I think they're just getting desperate to have Booker have something that isn't just nonsensical devil lettuce driven drivel. I mean, that's literally what we're so desperate because they want the reality of wrestling pipeline to exist to NXT since Evolve's not really doing anything anymore. And they kind of lost their inroad with the indies because of a certain other company that we will get to. So they're just so desperate to have Booker T that they're like, yeah, we get it that he's terrible, but
he hasn't always been that way. That's my thing.
yeah, legalization is not always a good thing. Let's just put it that way.
And remember, kids, full-size supermarkets are reserved for the main roster.
I want to give you the finger right now, but that was
You're
great.
welcome, Internet. You are welcome for that. That's all I thought the whole time. I'm like, are they getting a mini mart because it's NXT?
Or is it a mini mart because they wanted Roxanne Perez to look like a full-size human?
Also fair. She is a tiny human. And that segment didn't really do much for me.
Nothing this week did anything for me.
And I
Not
love
a
how
thing.
we have footage from them. Yeah, okay. You know, that's all I
We
can
have footage. There just happened to be a camera guy on his break who didn't turn anything off, and somehow the cable ran the entire way to the gas station.
And we made sure to sell that the employee was filming on his camera.
Hmm.
It is what it is. NWA announcing NWA 75 coming up next month. That was the one I forgot about last week, Alex. So you've got Emergence and you've got All In. and you've got NWA 75 all the same day next month.
I hate to say it because we were so high on NWA for so long. Give me something to care about in that organization right now.
Well, this headline's not going to do it for you because they have announced that ICP's Violent J will be there. Does his age match the number of the pay-per-view?
I think he's within 30. But and here's the other part that makes me laugh at that. If you remember when they were wrestling, Violent J's the one that basically didn't do anything. Shaggy 2 Dope, bump guy.
This is, yeah. I appreciate that they're still out there doing stuff.
Yeah, they're making themselves happy.
Still, well, as the kids refer to it, stands of them. But this guy, not one of them.
No.
AEW Dynamite. Can you believe this week is Dynamite 200? This is insane.
Yeah, it's been about 4 years.
I mean, it's crazy that, time's a construct. I really want to go into this next story a little bit because in a world where you have to do a lot of scrolling, I've been finding myself lately just kind of stopping on videos like on Instagram of people doing awesome things, like the guy at the All-Star game that sold the kid a magic baseball for $1. And did you see this video, Alex?
Is it? Well, I don't want to step on it. I want to say yes, but I want to hear if it's
Seattle. Asked the kid if he wanted to get a special baseball for $1. He didn't have $1. His dad had a 20, and the guy gave him the 20 back. And he goes, "Hey, well, you got that. I'm going to give you 1,000." He didn't want it. The mom was like, "No, we'll take it." And then they got him tickets to the game, and they got to go on the field. Those are the kinds of videos that I'm really, really focusing on right now, because a lot of it, and this is me being fully transparent, which I don't do much on this show, a lot of it has really been taxing on my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what's out there right now is really making me fight the darkness over time. And then and what's helping me right now, although now I just looked over at I don't want to say her name because she comes to life, but it's a meme that was on my phone years ago. And on one side, it's a stained glass window of a tuna fish. And on the other side, it's a tuna fish that's mounted. And it said, "Tuna window, tuna wall." Just that made me,
I've never heard that. I love it.
Not seen that? Oh, that's one of the greatest memes of all time.
Oh, I like that one a lot.
This Roosh story this week really brought me joy. The headline is Roosh has re-signed with AEW, but that's not what I want to talk about. Don, have you heard this story this week?
I heard something about it, but yeah, go ahead.
Roosh said that he was contacted by other companies. Now, apparently those other companies are saying he was offered a ridiculous amount of money we couldn't match.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. If that's the case, fine. But Roosh said that's not the reason. When Roosh was having issues, he said Tony Khan personally reached out to him about his wife and his daughter. And that's the main reason he re-signed with AEW. And that's the kind of stories we need to hear, of people being amazing humans. And by all counts, everything I've heard about Tony Khan, this is par for the course with him. So I'm very much on board with this story, and I'm here for it. Sean's listening. Sean's watching.
Yeah. Do you have a comparable story for SmackDown by chance?
Does not ring a bell, but we can talk about it when we get there.
That's why I was leaving it that way.
Appreciate that. On the other side of that, hear me, Internet. Famous people have rights too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you saw this the other day, Alex. As you may or may not know, Taya Valkyrie is married to one Johnny. Last name changes depending on where he
Johnny is. Gimmick name.
Yeah. Apparently, a fan found their house, walked up and put a note on the door. Don't do that. Go through the proper channels. These people have rights to a life too. Mm-hmm. And she said, thank God we had Ring cameras so we could see who it was. Not everybody does. Respect the privacy of people. Just because they're famous doesn't mean you're allowed to have unlimited access to them. All
And
right.
especially if you have the wherewithal to look up and find somebody's address, I don't suggest doing this as just a one-off, but maybe take note of what happened with Sonia Deville and don't.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Keep yourself out of prison. That made
It's-
me sad when I read that the other day. I was like, come on, man.
That's not even the worst one surrounding Taya Valkyrie in the last 2 weeks. And people
We're
were just
big fans of both of those kids.
absolutely.
So, speaking of fans that people were fans of, and I just went, oh, Scorpio Sky injured.
Yeah.
Come on, Scorp. We miss you,
They
brother.
were about to push him again, weren't they?
It was
Possibly.
starting on a collision aspect. It was
Yeah,
starting
they had him up in that
in the skybox.
Yeah.
So, but Scorp, we still love you.
Yeah.
We want you to get well soon. And we're now hearing, and this disappoints me too. Jamie Hayter will not be back for All In with no timetable for her injury. And this was supposed to be the big thing. Her and Toni Storm in Wembley. Here we go. Here's the thing. And now it's not going to happen.
My old boo.
Yeah.
Love both of them.
Yep.
Big fans of both of them.
I will say this though. Speaking of fans and all that, the Fantastic Faye Ford, she is mad at Jungle Boy now. She's mad at him.
I'm sorry, who?
Jungle Boy.
She's not
Nope.
Jungle Boy anymore, Don. Don't you
I'm
dare
still going to
call
call
him
him Jungle Boy.
His
Nope.
name's Jack Perry.
Well,
Respect
if you want,
the gimmick.
I'm still calling him Jungle Boy. But yeah,
Well, it would be par for the course for Don to be wrong. So,
I
not as much as you, but
oh, you
still.
wish.
It's neutral
I
corner.
know.
Neutral
But-
corners.
I say she
As I'm saying to my cats a lot right now. Neutral corners.
no, she's just mad at him. She's steamed.
But I don't understand the selection of Beethoven's Fifth. It doesn't make any like. I get you want to dump the gimmick, and Baltimore not getting any royalties anytime soon. I get it, but Beethoven's Fifth.
I know. I don't understand that. And here's the thing. I wasn't on last week because it was our anniversary last week.
Yep.
Love
We
you.
made sure, everybody. We told everybody, Don.
Yeah,
we let everybody know it was your wedding anniversary. Because
yeah, I love her to death. But the thing was, when I watched that AEW, I think Taz, that was a real life Taz was pissed and maybe did not know that's how his son.
But you also remember Taz sells better than just
I
about
know.
in the business.
So,
I find it hard to believe that Taz didn't know,
Mhm.
but I think Taz, the way he reacted, I can almost guarantee you he went over that in his head 1,000 times to make sure he stuck it. Because you're right. That reaction was gorgeously done.
Yeah.
But Taz, especially when it comes to anger, very few people sell anger better than that man.
If he didn't know, I am 100% certain that Jerry Lynn went and told him something's going to be said. Don't worry about it. I'm in the gimmick.
Yeah.
Here's my two questions for you guys then. Do you think, one, that was the best way for Hook to take his first loss? Number two, is this the right way, not counting the music, but is this the right avenue for Jack Perry to go forward to try to build them to a top tier?
Let me answer your second question first.
Yeah.
Go back the last 6 months of this show. Alex has absolutely telegraphed this. And he's right. Like, this is, if you're going to have him be heel, you've got to get him to ditch the Jungle Boy gimmick, which I've never really been a fan of. Like, I love Tarzan Boy, love that song, big fan. But I always think of the Listerine commercials that gave it its second life now that it's in its third. But to do that, it's the right way. Now, to answer your first question, I saw a graphic this week that blew my mind. Every major movement with the FTW title has happened in the month of July since Taz brought it back. So, which I read that and I was like, holy cow. Like, I didn't even think about that.
Tribute to Heatwave.
But I think it's a good thing because if you're going to put a belt on Jack Perry, that's a good one to start with because number one, it's an instant feud if you're not Taz or somebody he's tangentially attached to. Number two, it's not a belt that people clamor to see defended every week, so you can have a slow burn with it. And number three, he's got something besides a black leather jacket and an angry disposition.
Now, to more directly address that first point you had done, yeah, it's the right way for Hook to take his first loss because he's still protected because it was based on nefarious means. So
Which
in
you
that
refer
same
to
scope,
as
Yeah.
shenanigans.
yes. See, I don't control the sound drop, so I can't do that. But
waiting
at
for you
that
to
same
say it.
point, it protects Hook while giving him the non-Goldberg of blank and O going forward, which, God thank we never do that again. But it protects Hook from in a straight fight, he'd still win. Now, to the second point, you kind of have to do it, and you had to find a, like Rob mentioned, a belt that doesn't necessarily rely on rankings and records, so to speak, because Jack Perry is a phenomenal in-ring talent who has all of the charisma of a wet doorknob. So you have to give him a prop like a title belt so that he has something. Now, for me, and this may come to light or may wind up happening in the next couple of weeks, for me, the way to move him forward as a heel, give him Don Callis. Make him part of the Callis family because the kid can't talk well. He doesn't act. That's his daddy's department.
He's
His
getting
daddy
better.
didn't wrestle.
I will say if you look at his promos 6 months ago versus now, it's better. We
But-
have forward progress.
Yes, there is forward progress, but that's also like a infant learning from crawling to stumbling because he is still stumbling and pooing his pants whenever he's on the mic.
Ready for me to break the internet again?
Do it.
Do it.
All right, so you're progressing with him as a heel, and he's just beating up on jabronis. He's
The returning Fuego del Sol.
No. Got one better for you. So he's handpicking his opponents.
Okay, that
And
old
he's
heel
handpicking
move. I like it.
people that maybe you haven't even seen in years.
Like Jerry Lynn.
And he starts to run out. And all of a sudden you hear his Beethoven's Fifth music
Wait,
again.
real quick. Are you saying people we haven't heard in years? So you're talking about like a legend killer type gimmick?
No. I want it
Okay.
all to be jobbers to the stars type people.
That's what I wanted to make sure.
Like the parade of Barry Horowitz.
The parade.
Duke the Dumpster Drosy. Just
Oh
pull
my
them all out.
God. Here comes Steve Lombardi.
And then he's like, man, I'm starting to run out. And you hear Beethoven's Fifth again. And he's like, but then it turns into a fifth of Beethoven. Out comes Glenn Gilbretti. Tell me you would not laugh until you stopped. And we have
I
a
don't want
Disco
disco
Inferno
on
time.
my screen.
It would have to be, we'd have to keep it domestic. We can't go out of the country because then he'd forget his passport. But
He'd have to have one.
I'm on fire today, kids.
That's just the weather.
I'm on it.
But no,
this is my video resume for AEW.
Oh, even worse. Let's put a Aldo Montoya mask on him so you can still see the quaff, but so he's El Inferno de Discoteque.
The Disco and Fuego.
Disco.
I like that. I'll give you that.
Okay, one
That
night
would be-
only. Wait, one night only. They
Yes.
cut the check to Hasselhoff to do the Guardians Inferno.
For one night only, the two of them, El Fuego and Disco Inferno as a tag team. One night only. Oh my! I'm a genius. All right, let's see. Getting into Impact. Hey, Leo Rush. Here's the X Division title. Oh, now you're injured.
Yeah. Nature of the business.
I want to read this next note exactly how I wrote it.
Oh dear.
Dirty Dango with an Ed Hardy tank top. Sell the bit, brother. Sell the bit. And he says something like, my $2,000 Ed Hardy tank top. Do those even cost that anymore? Is that even a thing?
Are they even still being made?
That's what I'm saying. Or
Don, do you know if Ed Hardy's still making clothes, or is that out of business?
I
Ed
just wonder
Hardy?
if he Ed Hardy, yeah. If they just he found that at a Goodwill for like $10 and went, oh, we're doing this.
Yeah, he found it at a D-Bags outlet, basically.
And did you watch Impact at all? Or did you read what happened?
I saw highlights.
So you know who his valet is now.
I believe so. Yeah.
He is now. It is now Johnny Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
But because he is Dirty Dango's head of security, he is now
No.
Alpha Bravo. Adjust your roster accordingly. This promo that you know how much this whole show loves Dirty Dango. We love him.
Very true.
He's cutting this promo and pitching Bravo as this bad. Oh, that was the wrong button. But he goes, hey Johnny, weren't you in Vietnam? And Johnny goes, I was there on a vacation for like 6 days. And Dango looks back at the camera and he goes, he was in Vietnam. And Bravo leaning up against the wall in a flak jacket and aviator shades and an unplugged in-ear device is just selling it to the hilt. I was mesmerized. Don, what you got?
Yeah, they actually do make clothes. They have a website right now.
They still are making clothes.
Yeah, and it says new SH clothing. They have a set new. Yeah,
they have new clothing.
Yeah, or new section at on the website for new. Yeah. God
bless you, Johnny Bravo. I did not realize how much I had missed him until that exact. And he's just chewing gum. Yeah, I was there for 6 days on a vacation once.
The only thing that could have made that better was on his first introduction. It was him coming out of the wrestle house going, where did everybody go?
Yeah. Stop reminding me of that. And then EY
yes,
came out with a cool looking Dr. Doom mask on.
Mm-hmm.
I texted Steve and told him he had to watch it.
Nice.
That was a good looking mask.
Mm-hmm.
That truly was. I was very much on board with that mask. And then that happened. Oh, Phil's checking in. Phil just got back from, they're getting ready to come back from vacation. So he's getting ready to go back to the job because school in August.
Mm.
We love our teachers. Stop working our teachers so much.
Or at least pay them enough for it.
Yeah, right. Ring of Honor was back to 2 hours this week.
Did you jinx it? Do you feel like you jinxed it by giving them so much credit for being shorter?
In a row where it was an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And now they're back to 2 freaking hours again.
Well, I'm just waiting for it to wind up on Max.
Oh,
it's
actually,
what station is ROH on?
It's on their app. It's on Honor Club.
There's no.
I think I know where it's going to be.
What?
Because AEW filed the trademark for AEW Plus this week for streaming purposes.
Just let it be part of Max. Just let it be a section. Category is what they use.
A hub.
Let it be a hub on Max, please.
It just.
Is Dalton still on though with AEW Ring of Honor?
At least he or the boys are represented about once a week right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have a tournament now for the TV title going on, which Christopher Daniels qualified this week by beating JD Drake.
So we're in the jobber section. Got it.
The sad part is I didn't even have that in my notes, and I knew it off the top of my head. The only notes I have, we had a Vita Von Star sighting. She's back, but not with the Righteous. She's on her own. So, and this may have been right. And I know last night, Nigel kind of mentioned this. Again, I'm going to break the internet. You ready? I want Pac to be cutting a promo. And I want him in Gravity's face. And then I want Gravity just look at him and go, who are you?
I hate you so much right now.
Dude, I am on a roll with a side of slaw right now.
Oh my God.
Because Nigel referenced it last night.
Yeah, he did.
But I just want that. And I don't want anybody to sell it. I just want, or at least whoever's doing the interview to just like look at the camera and go, like just that look of, yeah, see what you did there. And nobody sell it.
Yeah.
Because that would be just for us. And that's okay by me.
Well, and on top of it, it's like, okay, I have a genuine question regarding Gravity and not
Gravity.
Super Fight. Do you think he is worth the time right now? Do you think he's there, or do you think he's just Rampage material?
I think Ring of Honor is a good place for him.
Okay.
Because that kind of fits his style better, I think.
Well, let me change
so
my.
Many people in so many different orbits in that Ring of Honor AEW conglomerate right now. It's all a blur.
Sorry, did you just use orbits when we're talking about Gravity?
I sure didn't even do it on purpose.
Just checking. But what I'm saying is I feel like he's getting more matches and more camera time than he should right now. I feel like I don't want to say he's on overexposure, but he's right there. He's right up against it. And with them selling it as him being Bandito's brother, I wonder if he's filling in where other people are supposed to be.
Could be. He is definitely getting a lot more camera time than I thought he would be.
Yeah. Well, the other fun note is with Gravity and Sean, she's like, how can he see? This doesn't make sense to me. How does he see through the mask?
That's actually one of the better masks that I've
seen.
It
is. But like the mesh concept bugs her to no end.
Well, I mean, but let's be clear. Still has no peripherals.
True.
That's the thing that I don't know that I could get used to. I've tried a luchador mask on. It's in this drawer right here.
Yeah.
I should have loosened it a little bit because everything that poked through the mask was like inflated. It was the strangest look I've ever carried. But not having my peripherals would probably drive me nuts. Don, what are your thoughts on that?
Lucha masks?
I couldn't do it. I don't know how they do it. It fascinates me every time I see it.
But it's weird because you don't want to lose it. You never lose it. Only Rey Mysterio is the only person to take it off and put it back on. That I can think of.
But what I'm saying is like, let's say you were asked to wrestle under a mask. Do you think you could do it? Because I don't think I could. Not having anything out of right here, that would drive me crazy.
It depends on the mask and how they have the eyes and everything. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at some of the masks over time, you see where it cuts through here. So it's like, yeah. I mean, it's with the heat, some people like it, some people are used to it, some people hate it. And some people, if it meant I'm on TV for a while before they move me over somehow, sure, I'll do it. You might hate it, but it's 20 minutes. Once you get backstage, gone.
Yeah, I have a certain, as I'm getting older especially, I get a certain amount of claustrophobia.
You know, of course, but again, we know the luchas and the history of the mask. But I mean, honestly, can you think of anybody besides Rey Mysterio who lost the mask who put it back on?
No,
LA Park, Psychosis.
Psychosis, I do remember.
Okay.
But LA Park did the same thing in WCW.
Yeah, but that's even like
rare.
And but I also think that outside of the major American companies, that's really where you only see that. And I don't necessarily agree with it because I think you have to respect the tradition, but I'm also kind of sick of being angry too.
Well, I can't say there was one wrestling mask that I would openly wear regularly. And if you remember the name Jean-Pierre Lafitte, because my right eye already doesn't work. So wearing an eye patch, not a problem.
I had nothing for Rampage.
It's just the also ran at this point. It's another one that I'm shocked is still on TV, but there's a contract. There's just nothing going on with it.
Put Ring
Time
of
to
Honor
build.
there.
You know, it's the superstars, like you said before.
That's a good point. Good
Yeah, but
point,
put
John.
Ring of Honor there.
Yeah, well, but here's your other problem. They would rather have, allow me to pivot this. They'd rather put Ring of Honor on Tuesday nights on True TV than give up any more programming, which, let's be honest, we're probably not far off of that happening just based on the real world ramifications of entertainment.
Yeah. I only have one SmackDown note. And I know, Alex, you were very excited at the beginning of SmackDown and then very disappointed at the end of SmackDown because Roman came out with only one belt. And I went, uh-oh. And then we got to the end in the back and both of the other belts were there. And I went, oh.
I was so close to happy. I was so close. I could see the happy. And then it was gone.
Yeah. I cannot get out of my head the fantasy booking you did last week for this main event at SummerSlam. And Don, I'm sure you haven't had the chance to catch up on everything because you had your anniversary, and I know it was a busy week for you. You guys are getting ready to go on your 74th vacation of the year. Alex, I want you to revisit this fantasy booking for SummerSlam because the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, if this happens, I am full on here for it.
You know, I got to be honest. I'm not 100%.
I want Alex on a one shot because I want.
Well, no. I don't remember which one you're referring to, so I'm hoping you can at least get me started, and I'll take the
tribal warfare. Because I said this belt can't move, can it? And then you gave me you want me just to go ahead and do it?
Yes, please, because I'm really struggling right now.
Alex's fantasy booking was, yes, you can have Jey Uso win that match. But that's when you have your cash in.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I said, you know what? That all works for me.
And it's the ultra heel aspect of it. That's what I was getting at, especially with Judgment Day being seen as the succession plan to the Bloodline story. And you want to get the ultra heat on Damian Priest for cashing in on Jey Uso, finally entering the 10,000 day reign of terror, or however you want to book it. And then at that same scope, what do you have with the world title? Does Finn win? Do they have belts on both shows and they just become the bridge, which I'm kind of okay with? I think Fox or Universal would take issue, but who cares at that level? But you literally get ultra heat on Damian Priest, who has been getting face reactions along with everybody not named Dominic in that group.
I did like what Rhea said to Valkyrie on NXT at the end of that match. Prove me right. I thought that was cool.
Well, they have a long history from before this company, so there is that aspect.
Both of them.
I'm still thinking that Jimmy comes back because technically I heard he's not injured, which was a
Rey Mysterio is legit injured. He is not.
I was going to ask about that. What was
that was a concussion, hardcore. I called that as a concussion the moment it happened.
Hit the back of his head hit the ground.
Yeah.
Now
he bounced like a basketball.
Santos Escobar was still scheduled to win that match.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they had to call the ending in the ring because of that spot.
Yeah, it was unsafe for Rey to continue. Now, that's not even the most interesting Santos Escobar news of the week.
Go ahead.
Now, so when they were down in Mexico City, there was a special meet and greet with select fans. And okay, you know what I'm talking about then.
I do.
So it was an amazing, amazing moment, looking for positivity wherever we can because there's enough darkness to go around. There was a young man who is a huge Phantasma fan. You know, wasn't old enough, but watched old tapes of his dad, was a big fan of Hijo del Fantasma. For those that are playing the home game, that is Santos Escobar. And he became emotionally overwhelmed.
He was right
when
there
he had-
ringside for that meet and greet.
Yeah, they all were. It was only 2 rows deep, I believe they said. But he got to the point where, as you know, we learn to control our emotions better as we get older in most circumstances. But as a child, this kid is meeting his hero and cannot get the words out. So Santos Escobar stopped everything down, went over the rail to get the kid, brought him to the ring, and was like, essentially, it's just us talking. Say whatever you'd like. We're here for you. You don't have to worry about it. And just was being a good person, which we've long known that a lot of people who play villains on TV are often some of the nicest, but that's just another emphasis for Santos, who I think always has worked better as a heel, being a real life babyface.
And genuinely engaged the kid too.
Absolutely.
Right
Like,
here the
didn't
whole
talk
time.
down to him, didn't make it awkward, just literally just engaged with his fans.
It's what we all hope to encounter when we meet people of that ilk.
Mm-hmm.
But
Russ
going back,
checked in. Russ, good to see you, brother.
but my thing, do you think that by the end of SummerSlam, Roman has the belt still or not? I think Jimmy gets involved somehow. He comes back and takes Soho out.
I think the only way it happens is the way Alex booked it. It's the only way it happens. And
I will also put a big asterisk. I don't expect it to happen. That was just fantasy booking.
To me, it's the only way it happens.
Where Damien gets the heat at the end. Then Finn wins. 2 champion. You got the women's champion, North American, and then you got the 2 champions there, kind of like how Bailey and Sasha used to run the thing,
Or does Finn not get the title, and that fuels that angle that much more?
Yeah.
A couple of notes from Collision last night. When Andrade was coming to the ring, I felt like Ian Riccaboni was doing everything he could not to say the word bloodline.
I don't know about him avoiding saying the word bloodline, but he was definitely doing yeoman's work last night on selling everything because you know what, Rob? I want to give you credit. You are 100% right. Riccaboni and McGuinness might be the best combo, even if Ronaldo came back.
Oh, good together. God, they're good.
Oh, but what have they known each other? 30 years now?
Yeah.
Like since Riccaboni was 15?
I still contend Nigel McGuinness, one of the great heels of our time, of this era, of this business. If I implore you, if you've never seen his Ring of Honor in-ring work, go back because he was the top heel in that company forever and rightfully so.
I always think of him as the angry hedgehog in those times.
when you had the truffle cut,
when he had the spiky,
when he had the little truffles, I was like, ooh, I think I want some beef Wellington right now.
But yeah, Collision was great though. I've said this to you before, and Don, I'd love to get your feedback on this. Collision has become by far the best AEW product, and it's not close for me.
No.
Like even when Dynamite's doing big things, it's just doing.
It's got better production value.
I'm still game to Dynamite overall, and Collision's still new to me. Okay. But I like how they're putting like CM Punk on there, and I think the big question is Punk coming out with the belt.
So let's talk about that because wasn't people talking about what's in the bag? Like, was there ever a challenge what was in the bag?
Because we knew what was in there.
He said it on television.
He said it when it first appeared. He said it on the first episode.
Well, and when he was talking about people stealing his catchphrase and then claiming to be the Real World Champion, I'm like, Ric Flair would like to have a word, please.
But I did also. Did you notice anything about the "Now It Has My Mark" on it though?
It reminded me of Hulk Hogan with the NWO, but that's
similar concept. But the only thing that got marked out in the middle is Elite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when he did the X, the only letter that got marked out was the E. And I love that people are still booing because the longer we get into this, the more people are realizing that, oh, maybe Punk wasn't the villain that we thought he was in Brawl Out.
Well, but I think there's a level of coincidence to that, just because the E's in the middle.
Oh,
And
no. I understand that, but I think that the idea for spray painting worked its way out from that based on other things he said during that promo,
Now-
particularly about being the adult in the room and doing things you don't want to do for the business.
Now, will I feed that conspiracy theory and say it did look like he doubled down in the middle of the exit to spray
Mhm.
paint? I'm willing to do that.
Yeah. Don?
So my question is then, do they do, and this is a question for both of you, do they do two champions like WWE, or and when I go to All In England, is it going to be Punk versus MJF, or is it going to be MJF versus Adam Cole?
Baby.
You know, what's that? How do you think that title is going to go, or what's going to happen? Are they going to
It's
unify?
going, in my opinion, and Alex and I talked about this earlier today. In my opinion, it's going to be some form of a unification match, whether it's a straight match, whether it's a ladder match. Your main event for All In will be CM Punk versus MJF. That, to me, it's the only logical solution. And then down the road a little bit, you want to do another title for Collision. That's fine, but I don't think right now is the time.
I think it'll be a little bit different. I think what'll wind up happening is you're now going to feed both ends, okay, of who the real world champion is, quote unquote. I think we're going to have two title matches at All In. And then All Out will be the unification.
Okay.
So what you'll have is MJF and Adam Cole don't want to face each other because now they're brochachos. But you'll get CM Punk versus Adam Cole and MJF versus Ricky Starks.
The only thing to me that I'm still sticking to my All In guns is how much in the beginning of that promo he talked about not
Wembley,
having a match in Wembley.
Yeah.
It just, and how it led to what was in the bag. It just, it maybe it's telegraphing it too much, and that's why I'm kind of being sold on it. But it just, plus that's a match that it's almost unfair to put that at the United Center.
But here's my other aspect with that. The reason that you have it at the United Center is because then you can do that ladder match like you were pitching, Rob, with the WrestleMania 10 ladder match going back to the 2 Intercontinental belts. Because if you have 2 champions going in, I don't know that you can do a ladder match in Wembley. I know you can try, but I'm not 100% on that.
Why would you say that with all due respect? What's wrong?
Because Wembley's an open stadium. It's an incredibly high roof. You have degree of difficulty.
Okay.
If they have, let me pivot it to this. If you have a structure in the center, similar to what WWE does, where you have the 4 pillars and then the Trons and everything in the middle, then yeah, you could easily hang a belt from there. But I think what they're going to want to do is have as much open in Wembley as possible.
Yeah.
Well, not even that, but so that they can show how many people are there, since they are allegedly 3,800 sold tickets from being the largest wrestling show of all time.
And that's the thing with all I'm hoping that's the case because we're right in the corner.
Yes.
We're going to be looking straight at turnbuckle. And I don't want to see a dang pole.
Right.
Remember what we always say on our shows, Don.
What?
We're just happy to be in a building.
I know, but if I can't see anything,
but who is the one person on this show that seems to get upgraded at every show he ever goes to? He's at the bottom of your screen, people.
I'm just worried. We'll find out.
I'm just saying. You're the guy that rolls up and they're like, oh, here's 15 ringside seats, sir. You are that guy.
Well, by the way,
deny me my opinion.
It looks like I'm going to see Manchester United the night before I see Wrexham. I found out too, and I'll get free tickets for that.
Your life sucks. Moving on, because we're at time. I'm always here for a Steamboat appearance.
Absolutely.
Let's go. And interesting but weird ending to Collision.
You know what? You surprised me. You get me.
Because I was like, fair enough. All right, anything else we want to talk about before we do the plugs? Because we're about to hit time.
I think we're set.
Yep.
All right, coming up at the top of the hour will be the Clubhouse Podcast. Make sure you follow this show on all of your social medias. Everything is the Cheap Popcast. We would love to have you follow us on all your social medias, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. It's what we do. You can follow me on your social medias if you would like. Everything is yes, that Rob Irvin. That is spelled ERVIN.
I'm Flexboy on all social media. If you'd like to help out the show, please go to ProWrestlingTees.com and search for the Cheap Popcast. You'll see this logo, a lot of different shirts, a lot of different color options within those shirts. If you happen to be an artist and want any suggestions or contributions, you can reach out to me at alex@theclubhousepodcast.com.
And that URL to get those options shirts, which even make me look good. ProWrestlingTees.com/GPopcast. And a Twitter at Magic Bunu at GBNUUU, which is right down there. It says Twitter.
You can send me an email if you'd like, if you're kicking it old school. Questions, comments, concerns, tell me to go pound sand, talk about your local promotion that we can talk about on this show. I am Rob at thecheappopcast.com. Charla Marshall is on Pinterest because we are morally obligated to say that. We love each and every one of you that tune in. Make sure you're telling everybody you know about this show if they're into these kinds of things. We will be broadcasting from a secret location Saturday night for SummerSlam as we get ready for the third of 4 majors in the year. And then as far as next Sunday goes, we are going to play that by ear, but stay by the channel because when we create the recording, it puts it on all our social media, which is kind of cool. Again, Clubhouse Podcast coming up at the top of the hour. So until next time, for Alex, for Don, for the Empire, I'm Rob. This has been the Cheap Popcast. Good night, everybody.